On this episode of Playlog, we're talking about Adult Swim still messing around with their games, some indie devs starting a brand new studio, and what dream projects we have where indie studios take on AAA IPs. Timestamp page. Don't incriminate yourself. Give it a couple seconds.
Never.
Never. We'll see about that. I swear to God, Tofr, if I do the incriminate yourself, and then one day I see like the play.nice.kids from TikTok is murdered an entire orphanage. I'm like, you bastard. How could you? I don't know what crime you would do. You'd do something dumb. You'd be like, hey, stole a baguette from a something or I don't I don't know what crimes you commit.
There's a big gap between murdering an orphanage and stealing a baguette.
Listen, crimes are crimes. I just say all crimes should be even. You know what I mean? Like, at least a year in jail. Someone baked that baguette. Hey guys, CGDannyB back again with another episode of Playlog, the podcast where we talk all things gaming and what we think Tofr would go to jail for. Let me know in the comments below. Speaking of Tofr, of course I couldn't do this alone because talking indie games alone can be boring. So I've got my partner in crime, the play.nice.kids themselves, Tofr. How you doing? You out of jail yet?
I am out of jail. I haven't done anything. You can't prove anything, Danny. You can't prove anything.
literally minutes before we got on here, there's a dumb joke in the Discord where somebody thinks that they were my mod, but they weren't, or whatever. And then one of my mods is like, as someone who mods for Danny, please help me. Like, funny, haha. So I made a joke about locking him back up in the closet. Like, you don't talk unless you're spoken to. And then someone else jumps in like, I'm here to save you, with like a Saul Goodman gif. And I'm like, oh, there's nothing I can do about that. That's Saul freaking Goodman. I can't save the day. There's nothing I can do.
Nice.
You ever watch Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad or either of them?
Nope. Neither.
Breaking Bad, pretty baller.
I really want to watch it, but there's so many episodes, and I have so little time.
It's a lot. Do this. Make yourself watch One Piece. It's really short.
Is it?
No. I think we're at 1,040 episodes right now.
1,000.
but Tofr, it's about the journey. I don't know how much of an anime person you are, but it's about the journey. It's like when people are like, you gotta watch. I hate Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is so boring. It is so fucking boring. But One Piece, it's about you see the crew, everyone being happy and being a family. It's that found family thing. You gotta love it.
Maybe no, I'm not gonna do it.
Tofr, you're gonna.
The last time I watched anime was about 34 years ago. And that was Dragon Ball Z.
Oh my god! But there's so much to catch up on. There's so much you can watch. There's Black Clover, which, speaking of, again, we're talking about anime here. You fuckers on TikTok, stop spoiling shit. I know about 2 character deaths now that I shouldn't have known about as an anime only watcher.
No.
Go eat ass. I hate you. Regardless. Yeah, no, Black Clover, My Hero, Demon Slayer, they're great, man. They're fun times. Don't know what to tell you different.
I can imagine. Like, I don't know why I never got into it in the first place, because there's so much to choose from, and
there's a lot.
I think maybe that's the thing that has stopped me from like diving in. I just didn't know where to start, and I didn't have friends who were like, "Oh, you should watch this or this."
Now, I'm going to shoehorn anime down your throat. By all means, if you're not going to watch anime, whatever. I'm like a COVID anime baby. Like, my childhood was Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, like nothing else. Watched My Hero Academia in college. I didn't really go anywhere from that. And then during COVID, like, we're not going anywhere. So I threw on, I want to say it was probably Black Clover, where I was just like, let me start this. I'm like, this is cool. And then I'm telling my friends, like, oh shit, if you like this, you'll probably like this. Da, da, da. And then I was like, let me go through the popular list. I did Demon Slayer. I did Shield Hero Season 1. It's just anime after anime. So now I'm playing the whole, like, here's the entire list of anime in the universe. What do I want to watch today? I'm doing Bleach right now. Not gonna lie, it's an old one, so it's kind of sucks sometimes. I know people pick on One Piece for their pacing, but man, as I sit here and watch Bleach, I'm like, could you fucking... Ichigo's out here fighting the dude, and then he loses. Man, I guess that's it. But Ichigo's gonna get back up and win, right? No, then the entire fucking Soul Society comes in like, don't you touch my orange-haired boy. And they start fighting each other. I'm like... This fight was like, it was like over. You couldn't be like, you lose, main guy. See you next time. And then like, but no, then they got to prolong it. And they're like, this is fun. I never get to have this. Is an indie game podcast. Anyway, Bleach, fun times, but it's a little slow. Anyway, you want to talk about indie games?
Before we get into the indie games, I just want to shout out a friend of the show, Daphne, because today, as we're recording, is her birthday.
God, so Daphne, happy birthday. Did you bring me a slice of cake?
I ate all of the cake. Sorry.
I'm pissed. I'm done. This episode's over. I don't even need timestamps. We're done. This is stupid. It's fine. I'm diabetic. My blood sugar's high. We don't need cake today. Oh, man. Anyway, this is typically the part of the show where we get into our freaking viewer write-ins. However, the write-in for this week is the topic of the show. So we're going to push that down a little bit and just jump right into the quick indie news. It's a little bit of a sad week in the indie world, Tofr. It's a lot of layoffs, a lot of studio closures, a lot of game delistings. So I guess just have to truck through the sad right now.
Yeah.
But first off, we have Tales of Zenless developer Surgent Studios announces layoffs. This one is from Wesley LeBlanc over at Game Informer. Surgent Studios, the developers behind Tales of Zenless, has announced it is laying off just over a dozen employees. This follows the release of their first game, Tales of Zenless, back in April, which launched to good reviews. Surgent doesn't explain why. It says it's focusing on supporting those affected, continuing work on Tales of Zenless, and looking ahead to future projects. Here's the studio statement in full. Quote, unfortunately, Surgent has joined the growing number of game studios impacted by layoffs this year, with just over a dozen people affected. It's a difficult time in the games industry, but we remain incredibly proud of our entire team's work on ZOW. And end of the praises received from critics and players alike. Our focus now is on supporting those affected, continuing our work on ZOW, and looking to future projects with our next creative projects. I put a project there, I wasn't there, but you get the point. End quote. And then, of course, Abu is all over Twitter, is always talking about the game, the progress. So obviously he made a video or made a statement about, the layoffs. It deeply hurt. The whole quote's on the article if you guys want to check it out for yourself. But yeah, more layoffs. That sucks. Super bad.
It does. And it's especially this quickly after the release of the game.
Yeah.
I do believe that it's a sign that the game didn't sell as well as they had hoped, which is a shame. I think it's one of the better games I've played this year.
100%.
But there's been an avalanche of games, and I feel like it's disappeared rather quickly out of the conversation.
Yeah, I do that thing to myself specifically with indie studios because I'm like, I know they need as much support as they can get. Now, I played this one through PlayStation Plus, and I'm like, is this one that I should have picked up myself rather than like playing it for free or whatever? But I always think like with the PlayStation Plus Game Pass thing, there is like they're getting paid a certain amount to exist there, or they have some contract with EA Originals type deals, so they have that backing. I obviously, as outside looking in, I don't know any of the details of those contracts or what those actually look like. But you're like, damn, it's like, I wish I talked about it more. I wish I pushed it more. Did I make a video that other people are like, I should play this one? And like, it's one of those things you can't do to yourself. Like I not to get a big head, like Danny could have saved Tales of Zenless. That was all on me. But it sucks. Like you just wish more people. It's weird to say like I wish more people played it, but we don't know for a fact that's the reason because they did not give a reason for the layoffs, whether it was a funding thing, whatever the case may be. You can only assume. But nah, it's just never fun seeing the people that like made your game when you roll the credits and you're like, oh, these are the people that worked on it that are just out of a job now. They made this really cool masterpiece earlier in the year and just now they're out. Coming shortly after, I don't know if there's a spoiler. I don't know when the episode's coming out. I don't think it's a super secret. I'm on an upcoming podcast for the Friday Night Games Club where we're talking about Tales of Zenless. And we brought up the layoffs a little bit, recording that a couple days ago. So timelines are weird. So forgive me when things don't make sense there. But it's such a great game. There's so much like artistry in it. We talked over there, Will and I, both being black, talked about like oh, every game features big muscular white dude, and you're like, yes, representation is so great when you finally get it. To then see the studio that gave us that representation, give us so much African culture, to then be like, oh, yeah, we lost employees that made this, standout thing. So big sucks.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm glad they made the game that they made. And I hope that this doesn't, how should I say this? I hope this doesn't discourage other developers of choosing to go for representation as well.
Yeah, please keep making black games. I love my black games. Give me more. But that sucks. Best of luck to all the employees. Hope you guys find new jobs. If you're an indie studio out there and you've seen these guys over on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatnot, reach out to them. Give them a job. We all know you indie devs have all the money in the world. Hire people. Timestamp. But on to the next title over here. Adult Swim delists 4 more indie games, stating developers are not available to take over as publishers. This is from Vicky Blake over at gamesindustry.biz. Adult Swim delists several more indie games, including Mega Coin Squad, Super House Dead Ninjas, Traverser, and Zenzizenzik. Zenzizenzik? Zenzizenzic. I don't know how you say that. Zenzizenzik. You're the one who tells me how to pronounce E.T. In matching statements posted to all of its titled Steam pages, Adult Swim said that it was no longer able to continue as publisher. Following changes at Warner Brothers Discovery, the game had to be shut down. Adult Swim is no longer able to continue as publisher for this game, and the developer is not available to take over as publisher at this time, so the former publisher says. As a result, insert game here will be shut down on July 15th, 2024. Thanks for playing. Back in May, Warner Bros. Discovery said it was returning ownership of some titles from Adult Swim games back to developers, like Landon Podbielski, forgive me if that's wrong, the maker behind Duck Game, and Rise and Shine developer Super Mega Team said at the time they had received notice of ownership returning to them. At least one developer, Bitmap Bureau Ltd., which developed Super House of Dead Ninjas under the name Megadev, says they haven't been approached. This sucks. This back and forth thing here with Adult Swim, where they're like, at first they're like, no, we don't have the game. We're not giving the games. They're shutting down. And then some devs fighting for it and getting it. This is in that weird spot where it seems like we don't necessarily have a lot of information, at least from 3 of the games. But with this first one being like, yeah, they didn't touch base with me. They didn't like offer. Granted, maybe that's being proactive and you should reach out and be like, hey, let me have my game back. But seeing Adult Swim just say, we can't handle it, they can't handle it, so it's gone. Like, that just seems super sketchy. It seems lazy, I think, to some degree.
It does. And I don't have a lot to say about this.
Sure.
Other than that it sucks.
Yeah, do better.
Like, game preservation is such an important thing, and it's been murky since forever because game preservation is not easy, and this isn't gonna help
at all.
And I don't know if it's Adult Swim or Warner Brothers who made this decision, but not a fan.
Yeah, you already mentioned like game preservation like being so difficult now, like, and I always forget the stat, but I remember seeing somewhere that like 90+% of like NES games just aren't playable through like traditional means, because either you don't have the NES to play it, you don't have a cartridge that works, you don't have the hardware to do it, blah blah blah, and of the remaining copies, scalpers are selling them online for exorbitant prices and this, that, and the other. So like the means for someday if I'm like, yo son, let me show you this old game I had on my PS1, like if I have a working PS1, if I have a copy of the game, all these different things. And then if I don't have it, the means of getting one, that's so difficult. And we're talking about like physical media in a situation where we have all these digital platforms that, again, I don't know the back end of Steam and what that requires for who owning, publishing, what guys get paid, blah, blah, blah. But I know you're just like, yeah, these just probably won't exist anymore. They're gone. We can't play these games anywhere. Like, that's ridiculous. That's insane.
It is.
Fucking.
I'm especially irked by Warner Brothers being involved, because
sure,
they already ruined Rocksteady for us.
Dog, listen.
And now they're doing these kinds of things as well. Like, what are you doing?
Rocksteady, look. You're not an indie studio, but Suicide Squad looked cool. I understand, not what the people wanted. And you know what? If it's a game you wanted to make, I'm happy that you got to make it. I'm sorry the shit's the way that it is. I will say, it was a long time ago, there were some rumors that we were going to get a Arkham City-styled Ninja Turtles game. So it was like that 4-player co-op in a typical, not the games as a service, not the getting the loot and shit, just like 4 dudes fighting as turtles in New York City. I'm saying, if that's still on the table, I think that's a big W for the coming years. Just saying. I'll play it.
Yeah, same.
Bad. But anyway, I can't decide what a studio makes. But yeah, no, Warner Brothers is in such a shit spot where like that they keep doing all these dumb, like the amount of animation that they've closed down. I don't have the details. It's not game related at all, but there was something with Cartoon Network yesterday. I think it was just a building specifically. I think a lot of people think like the channel is shutting down. If someone knows out there, I didn't look into it. So if you have the details and can clarify what's going on there. I actually don't even know how much of the connection is specifically Warner Brothers to Cartoon Network, but Warner Brothers just doing weird stuff. You're just like selling things, closing things, canceling things. Like, why? Like Batgirl being a big one of like, it was basically done. They said, you know what? Throw it away. Scrap it. We're not doing it.
Yeah.
Well, you're done and just put it out. Even if it sucks, you're going to make, I guess, some money, I guess. I don't know business. Business is weird. But yeah, Adult Swim. Let's figure out these games here, because if I can't play Mega Coin Squad in 50 years, I might blame you. Timestamp. Next up, we have another sad one that becomes a little bit more happy. Embracer has reportedly closed Elix developer ParanhaByte as former creative director announces a new indie studio. Now hold on, I had these as 2 separate ones. I didn't realize this article includes both, so we'll see about that. ParanhaByte, the German developer of the Gothic, Risen, and Elix RPGs, has reportedly been closed by parent company Embracer Group. Before we do that, in case anyone doesn't know, Embracer, goddamn, Embracer. So, long story short, there's a lot of steps to Embracer. Picked up a lot of studios, so we're gonna make a bunch of games, bunch of money. Had this big like check planned from Saudi Arabia, I believe, to do something with a bunch of Lord of the Rings IP, and then backed out on that. So now Embracer is basically closing and selling a bunch of their IPs and properties and this, that, and the other. So it's a big mess with Embracer. But a lot of things they own are just like gone, dead, disappearing, or being sold to other studios. Wish there was more selling than there was cancellation, but there's your story for what Embracer's going on with. The closure comes less than 6 months after ParanhaByte said it was in a difficult situation, but is still trying to find a way to move ahead with its next game in order to keep the studio open. The closure was first reported by Polish game site CD Action, which quoted a former employee as saying the studio has been shuttered at the end of June after Embracer was unable to find a buyer. Shortly after the report came to light, former creative director Bjorn Pankratz, close enough, along with his wife and fellow ParanhaByte's veteran Jennifer, announced the launch of a new indie outfit called Pithead Studios. Quote, "We wanted to keep doing what we love," Pankratz said in the studio announcement video. "This seems like the best way to do it." The video makes no mention of ParanhaByte, but a message posted on the Pithead Studio Discord points to an unhappy ending. And then here is a tweet. With Pithead Studios, actually I can do this one. With Pithead Studios, we founded a new indie studio. In the future, we will develop immersive and fantastic indie games. Curious? Let's take a look at our latest video. Then you have the YouTube link for the Pithead Studio channel. Please spread the word. #Pithead / #Pithead Studio #indie dev. The article goes on a little bit more. But this is one of those like exciting, like, man, this is really sad, but then evolves into a happy story where we get a brand new indie dev that we can look forward to playing games from. Have you ever played Elix? I've never touched this. So I don't know how you pronounce the game, but
I haven't. I hadn't heard of it even.
I think words are. it's one of those. It's one of those Thursdays. I always remember this one existing, and I remember like working at GameStop, selling copies of it. It's like a futuristic robot Souls-like type deal.
Okay.
Wasn't really my cup of tea. And obviously, like, one man doesn't make the success of a game. We mentioned earlier with Tales Gonzera. It looks cool enough that I think people enjoyed it and dug it. It's mostly positive with 11,000 reviews on Steam. Very positive with recent ones. So people dig it. People enjoy it. I just don't think it was like my alley, my cup of tea. And imagining what Pithead's going to work on moving forward, I don't know if their plan is to stick with that like fantasy Souls-like type deal, or if they want to do a new direction. Personally, if it was a new direction, I think I'd be more like likely to jump in. But regardless, seeing a studio be like, hey, these work conditions suck. Let's take a big old leap here and let's make our own studio. And I'm hoping that pays off like super, super well. And they get like those big things and they get that like drama movie of like the Embracer guys being like, hey, Pithead, we heard good things from you. Congrats. Any chance we could get a couple dollars? Like, no, fuck you. Slam the door type deal. That's what I want.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad that these people were in the situation where they could afford to make their own studio, because that's not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they chose to like take on the challenge.
Yeah. No, I hope they kill it, dude. It's one of those just so many indie devs as of late. We've seen a lot, and I say this not to start an omen. I hope everything goes great, but a lot of studios like put out their first game and they have layoffs. You know, with Tales Gonzera here, put out their first game and then close with Galvanic, which super sucks because I love Wizard with a Gun, and I want to see those things continue to grow. And I wonder if 10, 15, 20 years from now we see this like how many devs have hopped from one studio to another and this like grows their career, but then leads them to make their own studio. And now we've got billions upon billions of indie studios, which we probably already technically do, but just seeing that spread of not like just skill, but work ethic and every like cross these different games, seeing someone like, oh, I worked on Shovel Knight and Dead Cells and Undertale and, you know, all these big titles. Like, shit, that's a resume right there for this guy. So it's an exciting idea. Indie studios.
Absolutely. It's just a really hard time in gaming in general, not just in indie games.
Yeah.
I didn't add it to the list of articles, but earlier this week I noticed that 3 of Australia's biggest gaming websites were going to be shut down as well.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so all of these gaming journalists out of a job. It's the times are hard.
It is, dog. That sucks. Yeah, I didn't see that either. So I'll have to, if you know anything in the comments, let us know. Damn. I'm like, it's weird because people will bring up like the video game crash or whatever, the 90s or, you know, whatever the fuck the thing is. And people being like, it's happening again in 2020s. And like, I think the game industry as a whole, like we're there, we've got games. Clearly there's so much to play this year, but like seeing that the people making those games aren't being taken care of, or I hate to make it as aggressive as not being taken care of, because again with indie studios sometimes it's not as much of a, well, the CEO couldn't buy his 5th yacht this month, so we had to let some people go. Like, it's a very different case. But that being said, it's still people losing their jobs, and whether that was overhead that wasn't covered, it was things like, oh, we didn't see the game not succeeding, or, you know, whatever the case is. Just, I don't like seeing people that make the games I enjoy not be able to continue to make the games I enjoy.
Exactly.
So, fuck. Here's
let's
hoping
move on to
better.
Yeah, let's move on to some happier things.
Happy things, timestamp, baby. But that is the indie news of the week. Thank you, guys. Now, typically this is where we would continue doing the topic of the show. But first, don't forget, you can write into the show and tell us, no, you're not telling us things yet. Run it back. You can write to the show and ask us your questions about content creation, gaming, life, etc. Just like friend of the show, Jacob McCourt did, which also brought us back to a title we had planned to talk about here on the podcast already. Jacob says, time to play Indie Game Matchmaker. If money was unlimited, tell us about your dream game. Which franchise, indie or non-indie, would you give to which indie dev? Think of the recent the Rogue Prince of Persia with Evil Empire as an example. Thanks. Jacob, you told me you wrote into a question while we were goofing around on stream. I forget what it was. I don't know where this came from. We were talking about whether you fold your underwear or not on stream. Tofr, you fold your underwear?
Yeah.
Good.
Of course.
Good. Fucking degenerates in chat. Like, why would I fold my underwear? I just throw them in the drawer. I'm like, you are psychotic. But for some reason, while talking about that, Jacob's like, I wrote in a semi-relevant question. I read this. I don't know how it was related, so I have no clue. But we had this on the list of like podcast ideas of like indie studios taking over AAA IPs, talking about the Rogue Prince of Persia, talking about Cadence of Hyrule from the Necrodancer team. What's the name? The Crypt of the Necrodancer. I could not think of the whole title. And I had recently done a video a little while back where I took 3 League of Legends champs and made them into like Riot Forge indie games, picking a studio and everything. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it again. So each of us have, each of us have 3 games where we took a AAA IP, gave it to an indie dev, and kind of talked about like what that vision would look like, how that would change, what it would look like under insert studio here. I've been talking a lot. We've both been talking a lot, but how about you start? You pick which one you want to talk about first.
Let's start with my first pick. I love Citizen Sleeper, as you know, as anyone who has talked to me about video games will know. So I love developer Jump Over the Age, and I would seriously love to see what they would do with Metal Gear Solid.
That's such an interesting one. Like, now I am not a Metal Gear person. I don't have Metal Gear in my blood. I've played Metal Gear Revengeance with Raiden. So like my history is very limited with Metal Gear. So I'd love to hear like the vision there. Like what is the narrative? Who are the characters? What's the image here for this Citizen Sleeper Metal Gear?
But the thing is, like in Kojima's Metal Gear games, it's all very cinematic. It's stealth games. But the like in the same vein that James Bond is a spy.
Okay.
Like James Bond is the worst spy imaginable. Like everyone knows where he's been because things explode and people get killed, and like everybody knows like, oh, James Bond's been here.
Damn it, he's here again.
Solid Snake or any of the snakes from the Metal Gear franchise, I feel it falls under that same umbrella a little bit. Like it's all so these big action set pieces, and I'd like to see Jump Over the Age take it back to like actual stealth gameplay.
Okay.
Because Citizen Sleeper is based on tabletop RPGs,
right?
Where you roll dice, and the rolls of your die will decide what happens. And I think that would be really interesting to involve in a game about stealth, where you have to, like, for example, if you have 3 dice, and you have 2 good ones and 1 bad one, and you have 3 actions that you have to do, and you're all stealthily, but you have to use your bad die as well. How are you going to use it to be as stealthy as possible?
This is like a really cool idea. I like this one. I like it. I've yet to play Citizen Sleeper, right? I still have that one on my list of shame. And as someone who hasn't touched, I'm waiting for like the Blue Point. Like, I know we keep getting collections, but I want a good collection. Stop making these weird, like half-ass first 3 games. Do all the freaking Metal Gears. And that's a weird thing with Konami anyway. But like, I want to play through the Metal Gear franchise, and hearing the idea of like, okay, well, it's more of like this narrative, roll the dice type deal. Are we still thinking it has like the classic stealth gameplay, and then just the dice roll as you're like, oh, there's a guy around the corner, let's see if you stealth by? Or is it more of just like the talking points of the game kind of plays in the background? Or do you have like a vision for that?
I think it should be a mix of both styles of gameplay, because you still need to lure in the typical Metal Gear fans.
Sure, as you do.
But you can make it even more interesting. Like the narratives in Metal Gear games are always really convoluted.
Yeah.
and hard to follow. And I think with Jump Over the Age's writing, it could be even better. It could be even smarter. The social critique could be even better. It would just be really interesting to like mix the tabletop, like maybe it could have a dash of Disco Elysium to it as well.
Yeah, we love to hear it. I'm a sucker for these dice rolling thing, right? Because like I play a little Disco Elysium, and then I was playing it on console. I just didn't like stick to it, but always still plans to go back. And then thinking about like how much I was invested in Baldur's Gate, and like how that made me enjoy playing D&D again and everything like that. Like, I like rolling dice in my game. So hearing like Metal Gear with dice, I'm like, I'm into it. I'd fuck around and find out with that. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Of course.
What's your first pick?
Great question. I know which one I want to save for last, and it's the third one on the list. I think I'm going to switch up the order I have, and I'm going to do this combination of a PlayStation IP with a beloved indie game. And I'm imagining Ghost of Tsushima made by ASCIIsoft, the team behind Katana Zero.
Ooh,
And I was back and forth in this one, right? Because initially I thought Ghost of Tsushima made by Sabotage, the guys who made The Messenger. And not that I don't think they could do it, but The Messenger's a little more like fantasy, a little more like Ghost of Tsushima is kind of grounded in realism. Not that Katana Zero is like less goofy, crazy, cartoony, right? It's like super fast paced. You're super quick because drugs in your body type deal. But I think putting a 2D platform, I'm trying to pull up the trailer for Katana Zero and it's asking me if I'm 18. I'm like, please just play the fucking trailer. But seeing a 2D platformer like Katana Zero, where the whole thing is about speed and trial and error, like very Super Meat Boy, where you run in, how many times you get the kill, jump over, kill this guy, break the door, move to the next room. I don't necessarily think the repetitive, like beat the room, figure it out is the direction needs to go for Ghost of Tsushima, but the snappy, quick combat from Katana Zero, I think merged with like Jin Sakai's kit would be super lit. I don't know how exactly you'll translate it, but in Ghost of Tsushima, you have different stances. So there's the moon stance, the water stance, and you switch between them depending which enemy you're fighting. I think with how fast Katana Zero is, that might be a little bit difficult to like, I got to quickly snap between, I'm fighting a quick guy, so I got to do water, but now there's a heavy dude, I got to snap to moon and take him out real quick. But I think if you do include that with how snappy it is, that's some like rapid fire, insane gameplay like Katana Zero already has. So if I could just see Jin Sakai going from like, I'm a samurai, I'm a ninja, and doing those different things. I'm going to kill people. I'm going to sneak around and do whatever I got to do. But in this simplified is the wrong way to phrase it, but for lack of a better term, like a simplified 2D environments, I think would be super lit. I like had that idea, and then I kept bouncing back like, but do I want a Metroidvania? Do I want a Ghost of Tsushima Metroidvania from Sabotage? Maybe, possibly, but we're still waiting for DLC for Katana Zero, so I'm going to put ASCIIsoft on blast. So we're putting them in front and center.
No, that sounds cool. And like story-wise, would you like have it be set in the times of Ghost of Tsushima, or would you take it to a modern setting as well?
I'm imagining if in a world where Ghost of Tsushima proper still exists, right? We're doing our thing. If this was the in-between, because I assume we're getting a Ghost of Tsushima 2, another Mongolian invasion type deal. If this is something that's in between, like a Ghost of Tsushima 1.5 kind of Prince of Persia Lost Crown style, like separate story, but we got this character, we're doing our thing. It's not necessarily related to the main story, but it is a side quest from Jin. It's Jin doing his thing. I say that as if that's what Prince of Persia Lost Crown is. I don't know why I made that comparison, but I think seeing Jin do a side thing, it's not necessarily, Mongol invasion. He's fighting somebody else, doing another thing on this 2D plane. I think would be really cool. That way, it's not necessarily canon. Doesn't have to be like, but there was a time Jin did that one thing where he was dashing really fast. Like, that doesn't count. We're not doing that. But you also have Ghost of Tsushima Legends, which has a lot of like mythical, Japanese mythology type deal that you could probably implement into like this for a more fantasy feel. So I'm like, listen, fuck around and find out.
Ooh,
I'm here for it.
Mythological beings as boss fights.
Exactly, Doug. Exactly. And like, nice. I don't think Katana Zero is known for like its boss fights all that much. Like, there's cool boss encounters. Like, there's like a race on motorcycles and stuff. Normally, it is a lot of like dashing through the levels, taking out the grunts. But I still think I never take it away as like, well, they didn't do them in their main game, so they couldn't possibly do them in another one. I totally think they could. And I say I don't know how much ASCII Studios is. If you look up the developer, it always just gives Justin Strander. So I don't know if it is a one-man project. I don't believe it is, but if it is,
that would be insane.
Yeah. Fuck, Katana Zero is so great. Give me a PlayStation port. Do it. I'm about to play this again. Steam Summer Sale is going out right now. I might check and see if Katana Zero is on like Mega Sale, because if I pick it up again on Steam.
Let me check.
Oh my God, I don't know right now, brother. It's like Katana Zero is pretty good. It's really good.
Katana Zero is 40% off.
Okay, that's what, like $15, $16?
It's now down to $9.
Oh shit! All right, guys, go pick Katana Zero. This shit's fire. But that's my idea there. How about you? What's your next one?
All right, I'm gonna pick my third one first.
Timestamp.
I'm gonna say a Batman Arkham game made by Lucas Pope.
Okay.
Now, you remember who Lucas Pope is, right?
No idea. Never heard of him. It's the guy who made Celeste, right? No, he is our Obra Dinn Papers, Please. I'm sure some other stuff game guy.
Yeah. So this might be a weird choice, but I think it would be really interesting in the same kind of way that Telltale did the Batman games.
Okay, you got me. I'm into those.
Like combat wasn't the main focus of those. Yeah. The story was. And I think if Lucas Pope were in charge, we'd be diving even deeper into like the detective stuff.
So we're thinking closer to an Obra Dinn here than a Papers, Please, yeah?
Could be a mixture of both. Like I mentioned, and in the doc I mentioned the sciencey stuff as well.
Okay, I see now.
And like doing work in the Batcave, actually, instead of going out there constantly. It would be really cool. On the other hand, I do believe that this could potentially be the most depressing Batman story ever told.
It totally would, and I'm kind of here for it. Like, I'm putting the pieces together now. I'm seeing the like search the place with the Batman vision, and then like Alfred, I need you to. And you like either cut to Alfred, you teleport back to the Batcave, and you're doing the Papers, Please. Like, shuffle the paper. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, we're doing something here.
And you could still have like the combat be like the satisfying Arkham combat.
Yeah.
But you just add so much more depth to the game this way.
Ooh. I want
because I felt when I was playing the Arkham games, I felt that the especially the detective parts were a bit lacking.
Sure.
The detective work was pretty easy to do. And the thing is, he's supposed to be like the best detective in the whole world.
Yeah.
Let's find out why he's the best detective in the whole world.
Damn. I enjoyed the Telltale Batman games. I think generally they were okay, but I think a lot of people didn't like them because it's like not enough Batman. That's not what I want to be. But I enjoyed those games a lot. I don't know where Telltale's at right now. I know they've announced like 5 games. I think one of them came out. I don't know. Where's Wolf Among Us 2? Hurry up. I'm not rushing.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
I think that's the next one to release.
Yeah, because then we got The Expanse, I think, and that's a show I was not even familiar with. I didn't know it existed, and then I think that's out. Oh,
yeah, but that is out. It's supposed to be really good.
Oh, bad. Listen, glad it's good. Go play The Expanse by Telltale. But yeah, no, yeah. Again, with what I've played of Obra Dinn and seeing that and like imagining the Batman voiceover. I'm imagining Troy Baker because of Telltale, so let's stick with that one, but probably wouldn't be. But yeah, seeing the roam around, do the detective stuff, and then mixing it with any other Lucas Pope fun mechanics. This is cool. I like this idea.
Maybe even have Bruce Wayne parts in there.
Listen, I'll take my Bruce. Get it. This could be. So is it? We mentioned like the combat. Are we thinking a third person game to like?
Yeah.
Compare, okay, cool, to like the other Arkham games and then go from there. Bet.
Yeah, the look is gonna be based on the Arkham games, but with like this added Lucas Pope flair.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the basic gameplay could still involve most of the Arkham gameplay. It's just that it, like, for example, an interesting mechanic to me would be that you'd have to like figure out a way how to be Bruce Wayne enough of the time and Batman enough of the time and still get enough sleep.
What's sleep? Bruce don't know what sleep is. Never heard of it. That is crazy. That man don't be sleeping though. He's literally up 24/7.
You could really put the focus on like he's still just a person in a suit.
Yeah.
And that would make it so interesting to me.
Oh, I'm in. Lucas Pope, if you're listening. Warner Brothers, they be fucking it up. So if you want to snag that Batman IP real quick, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And make it for the Playdate.
that's the kicker. We're just like Batman on the Playdate. Mine's dead. It's dead.
Aww.
Plug it in. I haven't played in a little bit. I'm sure I have like 6 games sitting on here that are just like, Danny, you have all these games to check out.
But Danny,
yes,
tell us about your next pick.
I can't. I'm over here. Hold on.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
I was fixing my timestamp. I was fixing my my Playdate and Steam Deck mount. Bet. I sat and thought about this one, right? Because the other day I remember that Death's Door exists. And I love that game so much. I'm like, what do I want to like mix it with? And I had to think about Acid Nerve's other game, Titan Souls. And I'm like, you know what Titan Souls is? It's Dark Souls meets Shadow of the Colossus. So I said, let's step it up a bit. We're doing Shadow of the Colossus by Acid Nerve in the realm of Death's Door. And I'm like, shit, Danny, you got a heater on your hands, dude. So anyone who's not familiar with Death's Door, isometric top-down game where you're playing as this crow, you're the brand new Reaper, and there's 3 main bosses, so you travel through these different areas. It's very similarly like Souls-like. You got the dodge rolling and the healing and the type deal, but it's got this the intro world, like your starting space is all black and white with like red lights in the background, but you go to forest, you go to like an ice cap mountain type deal, and there's all these different cool environments and enemies to fight. It's super fluid. It's such a like an eye-catching game, and so is Shadow of the Colossus. Now Shadow of the Colossus is all about its like scale and verticality, but I'm thinking this kind of not necessarily dumbs it down, but within the isometric view of Death's Door, I think you could do a lot of things with the verticality at a different angle. I'm imagining you still have your third quarter, like boss is looking down on you, but he's like sword drops, and that becomes like a new section of like the platforming you could do and move around. I was hoping this trailer would show more gameplay. I think I pulled up the cinematic one for video listeners anyway, or video watchers. But still taking almost like a retro demake type deal. I not necessarily demake. I think it just means make it pixel art, make it old fashioned, make it a PS1 game. But just taking Shadow of the Colossus and putting it in this fixed perspective, and being like this platform now, thinking the third boss, which is Phalanx. No, not the third one. The dude with the big sword. He was my favorite. He was cool. But like when his sword comes down, you can climb on that, and as he lifts it up, jump onto the head and like smack, reset, you're back down. The flying bird level, or the fucking fish dude, or the lizard on the walls, and like having all these different encounters where you are now really just changing the perspective on how Shadow of the Colossus works. I think it would be like a really cool thing for Acid Nerve to take on.
Absolutely.
I want to fuck around and find out.
It would be really interesting to see, like, because to me, I never played Shadow of the Colossus, but I watched people play it, and it felt like a puzzle game.
Yeah.
Like you're figuring out where to platform to, and how to like hurt them where it hurts. Yeah. That's not a sentence.
Yeah, hurt them where it hurts. That's a sentence. Exactly what you meant.
And it would be really interesting to like see them remake those puzzles entirely from that isometric perspective.
Oh, it'd be so cool. It'd be so cool.
I'm sold.
Yeah.
I'm sold.
If that was the practice, because like we're so used to like Blue Point, who is like, let's remake the game, just make it prettier. Like it's very similar to like what the game has been. And imagining like, not necessarily the indie dev taking like, here's the IP, let's make a game in our style of it. This is like, let's remake Shadow of the Colossus as an Acid Nerve game. Let's do it that way. So we're still getting the same game, new perspective. Almost like if we took, try to think of another example where they might have done that. Can't come to one top of my head. Try to look at my freaking wall. Let's say they remade Titanfall as a third-person shooter. That's a terrible example, but you get my point. We're making the same game that just plays a little bit differently, but you're getting those same beats. You're seeing like, oh, this is the encounter where I know this guy's coming up, and I get to see this. In Shadow of the Colossus, like there's not really a map, but what you do is you like hold the sword up, and the light will direct you like which way the boss is. And I'm still seeing like the little crow having his sword, holding that up, and going where he needs to go. And again, you're not playing the crow, you're playing as the dude, but you have your horse, you have aggro, you'll have the, no spoilers here, but you have the moment with aggro on the bridge, and you're like, oh, this happened, but it's so sad because it's in this dark but like really pretty world, and I want it. Acid Nerve, steal Shadow of the Colossus.
This is an excellent suggestion.
I'm ready now. Listen, if you call me up, you got ideas? I got a couple. Let me know.
Like I'd go as far as to say that I never played Shadow of the Colossus because I know of the ending.
Sure, which is hard to want to when you're like, I know what's going on.
But if Acid Nerve remade the game, I would play it.
That's Asin. We got him on the hook. You got to do it now.
Yes,
you got to make it.
Have to.
It's good. I'd play Shadow of the Colossus for the first time when it re-released on PS4, like the remake version. And I don't know if that one ever came to Steam. I think I might just be on PlayStation. I'm not sure. Someone let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. But I finally understood why the game was so magical. It was one of those games I didn't play on PS2. And then everyone else was just like, oh, I remember playing Shadow of the Colossus. I looked at gameplay and like PS3 gen. I'm like, yikes, this looks ugly. And it was PS2. It can only look so good. Yeah, playing the PS4 one and seeing I always jump to magic. Magic's the word, but like the scale of everything, right? Like you're starting these giant monsters where you have to climb and find like the weak spot in the back of their head or their wings or their armpit and be like, huh? And it was really funny. So for anyone out there who might be going to Shadow of the Colossus for the first time, you can charge your attacks. I didn't know that because it didn't really teach me that. And when you're on the ground, you're like slash, slash, slash. So when I was up on their back, I'm like, stab, 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 stab. What you're supposed to do is bah, and do like a lot of damage. My ass is like, let me climb. And I was like, okay, I did this wrong. I played this game. That was like the first like 8 bosses I did that. And I was like, oh, I can do this easier. It's only like 3 hits if I do it right.
Listen, last week when you were showing your gameplay of unpacking, that was the first time I found out that you can zoom in.
I did that always by accident. I always like the base perspective. I just wish it was a little bit closer because I'm like, I want it to just fit the screen because the default zoom is like, there's like, you know, a little bit more background, right? If I can get just close enough, it's either you're in where it cuts off a bit or you're out where it's really small. I'm like, just like a 50% in between those zoom. That's what I need. But yeah, Unpacking, another great game. Also on sale. Pick it up. But yeah, that was my other idea. Timestamp. Now, Tofr. What else you got on here? What's your other idea? Because I see this. Go ahead.
Well, we could have a discussion all on its own about if Life is Strange is a AAA.
Yeah, it's a whole conversation there. It wasn't, you know. Yeah. We'll put that on the wall.
And the thing is, I have 2 studios in mind, and it's hard to choose which one.
Yeah.
Now, Die Gute Fabrik are the people who made Mutazione and Salt Sea Chronicles. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't think they still exist. I know one of those people moved over to the other studio that I'll mention in a second.
Oh, no shit.
Salt Sea Chronicles did not do as well as they had hoped. And I think that as a studio, they no longer exist. Oh. So that's why I mention a second studio who might pick up the slack. And that's Night School Studios. The people who made Oxenfree.
Try to pull the trailers for both.
And yeah, I like both studios are just, to me at least, these are my 2 favorite studios when it comes to writing about people.
Right.
They know how to write conversations between actual people with flaws, people with dreams. They do it better than anyone. Night School Studio might have the edge here because they also, of course, know what it's like to include something more supernatural.
Yep.
So that might fit Life is Strange just a little bit better as well. But it would be interesting to see either of these developers make a Life is Strange game. Not remake one of the existing games, but make a new one from scratch.
I was going to ask, I didn't know if the image was just like, oh, this is like, we'll remake Life is Strange 2 in this 2D perspective, or for reusing characters or anything. Are we imagining brand new character, still Life is Strange universe, just plays different?
Exactly. Like True Colors was.
Cool. Yeah.
Something like that.
I'm here.
But then, and it would have to be in like the visual style of these studios.
Yes.
That would make it really cool. Because I like the style that is it Deck 9?
Yes.
That they're going for. I like the visual style. But Night School Studio and Die Gute Fabrik have these distinctive styles that I prefer.
Totally.
And would really suit this universe.
Yeah, both Mutazione, how do you say it?
Yeah, that's it.
I'm so good. And both Salt Sea Chronicles are ones that I haven't played yet. I think I have the first one on Epic, like in my library. Salt and Siege kind of passed me by when it dropped, playing something else, didn't get around to it. But my buddy Josh, Josh does indie trailers all the time, and he loves Mutazione. And I was like, I want to get back to it and try it, but the style is definitely standout. I think I'm more of a night school kind of speed. I have not played either Oxenfree 1 or 2, not to completion. I started Oxenfree 1, need to go back and do it again. But I have played through After Party, which I really enjoyed because I like the comic relief and the vibe of that one. For context, that's when 2 college students end up going to hell, and the only way to get back is to outdrink the devil. And it's really funny. I really enjoyed that one. I actually just picked it up recently, physical for PlayStation, and seeing a Life is Strange with like, maybe not so much Max and Chloe, because I think that's more of like a one's abrasive, one's like, Chloe, stop type vibe. But seeing those 2 banter back and forth, like in that kind of environment, like really like scratches an itch. I think I'm into that. Night school doing a Life is Strange. I'm here with it.
Yeah, and it would be cool to see how they incorporate like what everything that has already happened within that universe.
Please.
But still be able to. I mean, you haven't played the Oxenfree, so I'm going to try not to spoil too much here.
Do it. Spoil it right now.
The way that the second game introduces elements from the first game is really interesting, and it's really well done. So I feel like they would be really suited to like make something within the Life is Strange universe.
It'd be so cool. I like, because you're right. They're like, they already have the vibe. They have the game. Like they have everything. You basically just have to put the Life is Strange coat of paint over it. So like if I could see it some Netflix game showcase, because I guess we're in the weird spot now where I forget if Xbox owns them now, or if Netflix owns them now, or if they're just doing partnership stuff. So it's like, are they indie anymore? But like also, we'll say fuck it. We'll say fuck it for this. But yeah, seeing a night school Life is Strange, like that just sounds right. That sounds like something that should already exist, and I'm here for that. That sounds sick.
Also, as far as I know, Night School Studio does not condone Nazis.
Good call. Good call.
And Deck 9, apparently some people do. So,
Deck 9, what are we doing? What are these people doing?
Yeah.
Night School.
But let's talk about your final pick, because I'm really interested to hear.
Let's do this. I'll tell you this. When we had this idea, I knew for a fact I wanted Beautiful Glitch. Now I've been playing another video. Someday it'll get done. We'll see if that script ever happens, and this will be included there, but different case. But I wanted Beautiful Glitch, the guys who do Monster Prom, Monster Camp, Monster Road Trip, Monster Con, Monster Retreat, whenever that comes out, Monster Prom 5. We love Monster Prom around here. So I'm like, I need a dating sim of a AAA IP. What is it going to be? The first thing that came to my mind was Final Fantasy. And I'm like, that one's not so much like, it's not like the dating thing. You have hot anime characters, but like, maybe, I say this as like the not Final Fantasy guy. I don't think I see as much shipping in Final Fantasy unless it's Cloud with either Tifa, Jessie, or Aerith, right? I'm like, that's not enough to build a dating sim. So I looked up video game ships. First, I got top 10 best spaceships. Not what I was looking for. So I went to the next article, and the first image, I was sold. The first image was Far Mercy from Overwatch. So I'm like, done. Overwatch dating sim from the guys who made Monster Prom. And let me tell you, hold on, I got to find our Let's Play of Monster Prom here for the background, because we're in. I love these games so much for their humor, for their visuals, everything about them. Monster Prom, incredible. So the image I had here is, right, you are playing as, let's say there's 2 separate campaigns. You got your Talon campaign and you got your Overwatch campaign. The good guys and the bad guys. Will they intermingle? Probably. Oh God, that old Couch Gnomes logo. Oh God. Look at that thing. Holy shit. The times have changed. Oh God, there's footage too. Just go to the gameplay. What are we doing?
Oh wow. No.
Go watch that Let's Play on your own. It's over on YouTube. But yeah, so imagining if you pick Overwatch, right, you can, we'll say, building this as we go. you pick between a certain set of characters. Maybe like you start with Tracer, right? Tracer's your like default Overwatch character. And as you progress, you're like, oh, let me go talk to Diva. You're looking kind of fine today. Like, you want to go save the world? Like, Tracer, I'm busy, but you know what? I can make time. And then like as you're answering questions, having discussions, blah, 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 Tracer and Diva, ship it. Done. They go and save the world together, right? That's the end of that story. But if you're like, oh, Diva, we got to do this combination, blah, 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 blah. You messed it up. You didn't succeed. You failed. They don't date. But if you complete one, maybe you unlock another path. Now I unlock the Diva path. And I'm like, Diva, kind of feeling Genji, you know? So now Diva's trying to flirt with Genji and they're going that way. And Genji's like, but Diva, I love Angela. And then it's like, oh shoot, my heart's broken. But now you unlock the Genji path to date Angela. And Angela's like, well, I love you, but in the real world where people actually want to ship me, they're shipping Far and Mercy. I'm like, oh no, the paths are blocked. And then vice versa, we're back to Talon. Let's say we start as Reaper, the most like almost undateable character in this game. He's just like, I'm angry. Widowmaker, would you like to get dinner? And she's like, Sakura bleu, I hate you. And then they don't date, but then they hate fuck. I don't know. We don't know. But something happens. But then that unlocks, I'm trying to think which ones are all Talon. I think Moira, I think is Talon. Mm-hmm. There's a weird thing where some of them, like, they were all Overwatch. They're like, but we're the bad guys Overwatch. Then they all became villains. I think Moira's on that train. But there's, like, Cassidy, who was, like, kind of the edgy guy. Like, I'm a hero. And then Overwatch. So forgive me if I got those wrong. Correct me, Overwatch fanboys. But yeah, no, I just see this awesome, fun thing where you kind of have to throw out the Overwatch lore because there are characters that date. There are characters who are LGBTQ, like Tracer, Soldier 76. There's ones where I want to put in there that I think are just fan predictions that aren't career. I think those two are correct. I can't speak to the rest. Okay. And then I know there's new characters that I know dick all about. I stopped playing after Life Weaver was the first new character I didn't play. So like any new character after Life Weaver, I got no clue. But listen, I'm not going to judge, not book by its cover, but you can't tell me Life Weaver's not gay. That is a gay man, and I hope he is proud of it. I hope he's proud of it. But that is a gay man. There is no doubt. Anyway, but no, I see this really fun way of taking the crude humor, the different mini games, the multiplayer aspects of it, and throwing that into the world of Overwatch. Because Overwatch, let's face it, is dying. They really dropped the ball on some things. It died for me when they said we're canceling the story mode, because that's all I cared about for Overwatch 2. The moment they said we're canceling it, I uninstalled. But if Beautiful Glitch is like, by the way, we're making an Overwatch dating sim, day one, I'm in there. I'm going for all the endings. I need it. Because I love those characters. I love that world. I'm just sick of the multiplayer shooter. I don't want to play it. But Overwatch dating sim, sign me up.
Like, it reminds me of a book I read earlier this year. Okay. This is How You Lose the Time War. And it's about time travelers that are both on other sides of this gigantic war.
Okay.
And they're like, and both of them are like the best in the field. And each chapter is like, what?
I don't know what's happening in our Let's Play here, but it was just a giant image of Doki Doki Literature Club took over the screen. I don't know what the conversation was we were having. Sorry, continue.
No worries. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So these two agents, both the best of their fields, and on each side of this war, they start communicating with each other. Okay. They leave notes for one another. Like they're on each other's trail, but they always arrive just too late. And it turns into like this. At first, they're like enemies, but then they start being gaining respect for each other. Ooh. And then it evolves, and it's a really good book. And like that could be a potential storyline for an Overwatch dating sim.
We cross over Talon and Overwatch. Then Soldier and Reaper are banging. We got this. And then who else is in Talon? Widowmaker and Tracer are banging. And then Emily, Tracer's girlfriend's like, what are you doing with the purple girl? It's like, honey, it's not what you think it is. But it's more British than that. Oh, Tofr. We're printing money at this point. It's just that easy. Studios should be closing when we got ideas like this.
Exactly. I also think that like the colorful world of Overwatch and the colorful world of Monster Prom would fit each other perfectly.
So well. Ah, fuck.
This might
want
be the
this.
best idea of all 6 of them.
Honestly, I'll take credit for that. I do have the best ideas. That is me. But those are ideas for AAA IPs in the hands of indie studios. Let us know if you're listening at home. Which combination you want? What's a AAA game you want to give to an indie dev? What's the idea you have there? Jacob, I know you wrote in, so if you're listening, I want to hear what your ideas are. Because I think this is a bottomless pot of things we could do. There's so many different ideas. But for now, we're an hour in and we got more stuff to talk about. So, timestamp. Don't have too much to talk about. I guess I have one. Let me mention this game quick. It's not an indie game. I just want to knock it out while we're here.
Okay.
So, if I'm playing a lot of Zenless Zone Zero, you know what this is?
Is this from the Honkai Star whatever?
Sure is. It sure is.
Universe. Okay.
I don't like Genshin. I don't like Honkai Star Rail. Not my vibe.
Okay.
But when I tell you, ZZZ has that anime superhero vibe that just it hits right. It's not perfect. There's a lot of annoying menial menus where the moment you load, you'll have 14 notifications. They're all in different sections of the game. And I'm like, oh my God, where do I go? Right now I have one where I have a notification in my notifications that when I go there, there's nothing to check. So it shows that I have a notification that I don't think I do. I think it's just a bug, but I don't know how to fix it. But it's a gacha game. So what they want you to do is spend money to buy reels that you can then do random shuffles and then hopefully get the characters that you want to play as. I've yet to put any money into it. I don't plan to anytime soon. I'm in a good spot where I hop on each day. I run and do my missions. I grab my stuff. And then when I'm done. I move on. And then I go play something else for the day. That being said, I'm addicted. I'm having a good time with Zenless Zone Zero. I'm really enjoying it. Not an indie game though, but it's free to play. So.
And is it I don't know much about Genshin or Honkai Star Rail, but is it I do believe those are pretty big worlds that you can travel in. Does Zenless Zone Zero have as big of a world as well?
Less so, because Genshin has a very Breath of the Wild type of scale to its exploration. I can't speak to Honkai. I've never dabbled with that one. I've just seen the gameplay. But Zenless Zone Zero is a little more not even open zone. It's very let's think about Digimon, right? You put your Digivice in the monitor and you go into the digital world type deal. You play as a proxy, which you pick either Bella or Wise. They're the two main characters. You pick one of them. That's who you run around the world as. You do the quest, go get your coffee, go eat the ramen, and then had to sneak. There it is. Okay, bless me. But when you go out, you're like, cool, I have a mission. You go to the computer, you're like, I want to go here today. You pick a team of 3. So when you start, you have 3 default characters, which I don't know if I fully have yet. I think I have to still unlock them by the packages or doing their missions and stuff, but I still have access to them and I can level them up. So I assume I own them. But you're like, I'm going to pick my team. So I'll take Billy, who's the cool guy with the mask who kind of looks like a Power Ranger, but big white hair. And he's just zappy Deadpool. I shoot my guns. But I'm like, I also have a girl named Corin. She has a giant drill, but not even a drill. It's a big pizza cutter. And she swings that around. I love her. She's great. And then I got Rena, who is a maid, who has 2 giant puppets that shock people. So you pick your team, you run in, you do the battles. That team synergizes pretty well. But later I unlock, I think it's Lycanon, who's a giant furry. He's a wolf dude who kicks things and turns them into ice. He's pretty cool. He's pretty dope. I like him. So I'm trying to find the best team that goes with him. And then you basically do rooms of combat. So you pop in, fight the guys, move to the next room, fight the guys, next room, fight the boss, complete the mission. Sometimes there's more around it where you have a map. There's a roguelike mode, but for visual understanding, there's a roguelike part where you have all these television monitors. See, I didn't expect to talk about this much. I didn't capture any footage, so I'm just talking about it. It's just nothing to show, so use your imagination. But yeah, all these televisions, almost like a TV wall, you see a Best Buy type deal. Just their old CRTs. And it's a bang boo. It's a little rabbit thing, which you use to maneuver the different screens. And sometimes you'll pick up money, which you can use to buy upgrades. Or you run into enemies, so you have to do an encounter before you get to the actual encounter. That I really enjoyed at first. Now it's it's a step. It's a step that I don't enjoy doing. It's it's not the worst thing in the world, but I want to get in and want to do the fighting. I want to do the combat. So I have to do this board game thing between every counter. I'm like, can I just skip this part? I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this anymore. But I'm still enjoying it a lot. I have to say I'm probably 20, 25 hours of gameplay into it right now.
Wow.
It's a good time. It's a good time. It's a good time.
Now, 20 hours in, can you tell me what is a Zenless zone?
Great question. So a Zenless zone's made up. It's not even a real thing. I actually don't. There's a lot of terminology in this game. Ones I'm still figuring out. I just figured out what days formula was yesterday. No, I've known what days is. I've known how to use days. I just didn't know the terminology. Now I know what days is called. That's how you stun the enemies. And when, depending on the size of the enemy, whether they're a medium or a small, medium, or large, you get chain attack. So if I'm like, boom, I got your stagger or your days meter up, your stagger meter, then I get to hit you. But if I hit one of the buttons, I can switch to another character. And then they hit him really hard. But if you're a big guy, I can switch to another character and hit you again. So that's how that works. Zenless might be a term in this game that's like an actual thing. If it is, I don't know what it is. I have no clue. But there's like 40 different terminology I still don't get yet. There's like 70 different currencies. There's tapes, there's mega tapes, there's micro polychromes, there's regular polychromes. It's a lot of stuff.
Jesus.
I don't, it's a lot. I'm like powering through it to be eventually I understand it. But I might need like a tutor for it, man. It's a lot of shit. Yeah, Zenless Zero. It's a fun time.
Tell me about an indie game though.
Oh, bet, sure. I've been playing so much timestamp. I've been playing so much Wildfrost, bro. I'm back on the Wildfrost kick. This has probably been like a month now. We're sitting on Discord. I have nothing like I don't want to commit to this. I don't have a story thing. I'm talking to people again, and I'm like, let's launch Wildfrost. Let's do this damn thing. Deck building roguelike. I love it. I love the game so much. It was my third favorite game from last year, just behind Sea of Stars and Dredge. Mm-hmm. Bro, it's fun. If you like, I hate making the comparison to Slay the Spire because it's not quite the same, but you're still using cards. You're battling enemies. You start with like a villager, and the whole goal is to like make it through this eternal winter. You get to the top of this mountain, fight the boss. That's where the run ends. Now, man, this video is chugging, but we'll get to that. But the art style is great. Gazeter, I follow them on Twitter. I love their art style so much. I want the day to come where I'm like, hey, Gazeter, can I get a banner of you drawing like my gnome or me with my gnome or something like that? So I have a Gazeter like art in my life. I want that. I love Gazeter's art style. But no, it's just addicting. Like, I think, and then probably what brought me back into it is that there was a crossover with Balatro and Wildfrost. So now, like,
really?
the Joker from Balatro is a card in Wildfrost, where they are, it's a doppelganger or something like that, where basically, if you bring it out onto the field, if it lasts its turn, like its countdown and gets to activate, it'll make a doppelganger of one of the enemy cards on your team with like, I think it's 3 health, 3 the countdown timer, and 3 damage. Like that's what it will do. Okay. And I won't lie, it's a fragile little bitch. I rarely get to actually use it. I'll put it out, be like, all right, you start your countdown. And then some big moose is like, me no light clown, bam! And like crush it, like, fuck, I needed that. Damn it. But I'm at the spot where I was telling you earlier, I've beaten Wildfrost before, beaten air quotes Wildfrost before, when, not really a spoiler, it's a roguelike. You beat it, it's like, you want to go again? But like it tells you narratively like victory with a question mark, like, I didn't really win. Then you unlock this like bell, which if anyone's played Hades or many roguelikes, when you beat the game, you get to run again with like challenges. You can do increased damage from enemies, or you take more damage, or whatever it is. So Wildfrost has like a whole chart of those. I think you have to equip 3 of those and beat a run. Then you beat Wildfrost, I believe. I tried 1 run, did terrible, but I think what I have to do is just commit, pick some that I'm like, I think I can handle this, get the right build, and beat the game. So I can be like, I beat Wildfrost. But even as I'm losing, like I love going through and being like, I love these characters, I love this build. There's a new card, Nova, and what she does, she has this ice block. Whatever she gets hit, she takes an entire instance of damage. So like if someone hits you for like 50 damage, that ice block takes it all. So you don't take any additional health. So like she's great. Wow. What she also does is anytime that ice block breaks, she hits everybody on the enemy field. Now she only does like, I think 3 damage, but if you buff her, I'll get her up to 12 damage. So if anyone breaks that ice, she does 12 damage to everybody on the other side, which is great. Nice. But then I also have builds, like you get a charm that each, like my boss or my main character will start with an ice block. So if my boss gets hit, that ice block breaks, that still counts. So she'll swing and hit. Or I'll get cards that are like, hey, take this ice block, give one to your side, one to the enemy side. The enemy side doesn't count, but whoever gets it on my side, when that breaks, she hits everybody. So that's like a great build. I love because she just gets to swing like a madman all she wants whenever someone breaks that ice. So that's like my favorite build right now, coupled with Overburn, which is just take so much damage you explode. Like I can sit here and talk about all the different mechanics of Wildfrost, but like one of those games that I played last year that I am still so in love with and like could pick up at any time. I have it installed on my phone. I have the free one. I've played like the free part. Like, would you like to buy it? I'm like, no, I own this on Steam Deck. I don't have to buy it again. I can just bring my Steam Deck. But I'm close to just buying it on my phone and having it. If there was cross progression, I think I would have done it by now. But I don't think there is. So I haven't.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll stick with the Steam Deck. But
yeah.
Wow,
I have heard that the mobile version is like a really good port though.
Yes. Yeah. I've the people addicted and like, listen, if you're not, I don't think Battletro on mobile's come out yet. So you still have a chance to go play Wildfrost on your phone. Then when Battletro comes out, you can put all your effects into that. So just know that.
Yeah, I really need to get back into Wildfrost.
Yeah.
It's a game that ticks every box for me, but the difficulty curve has just kicked my ass a bit
100%. It's tough. It's tough. And I think that's just, I think I've just chalked up. That's roguelikes. You have the time where you get it right and whatever cards you have and you're like, boom, I nailed it. But most of the time, for every time I win, I've lost like 10 times. Like it's just, that's Wildfrost. But that's just Mafia, whatever the fucking slogan was from 10 years ago. I don't know.
Are you getting the soundtrack on vinyl?
Here's the thing. Here's where I suck with vinyls. Because I don't listen to them. I have the Shovel Knight King of Cards. I've got all 4 Uncharted vinyls. I have the Celeste one over here on the shelf. I have vinyls, but I don't listen to them. So I'm spending $40 to $70 on these vinyls that I'm not going to listen to. And I'm like, I want it. I would own it to have it.
Yeah.
But fiscally, that's an irresponsible thing to do, says the guy with a wall of Amiibo that are still in the box. But I can't keep collecting more stuff. I got Pops, I got Amiibo, I got indie games I haven't played. I got too many collections. I don't know if I can start vinyls, but...
Yeah, I get that. I just wanted to mention it because the soundtrack is that good as well.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
And just the sound design in general in that game.
Oh,
it's so satisfying. Like every sound in that game is just perfect.
Shing shing squash. Yeah, it's like everything about Wildfrost is like perfect for me. I have like so rarely can I ever, I don't even say rarely. I don't think I've ever complained about Wildfrost. I've been like, oh, I messed this up, or like this got messed up because they just had more damage than me. There's nothing I could do. Again, that's just roguelikes, is what you do. But like the polish on this game, the music, the visuals, the quality, I've never had any bugs or anything. It's just, there's no perfect game, but Wildfrost's pretty damn close. For me.
It's fun. I think it's one of Chucklefish's best games that they've published so far.
Totally agree. Yeah, it's a good one. Anyway, I got to talk Wildfrost for hours, so timestamp. Tell me about what you've been playing.
I have been playing this little game called Times and Galaxy.
Yeah, baby! Writing them papers.
We've mentioned this game a couple of times. It's developed by Copy Chaser and published by Fellow Traveler, who I love.
Those fellow travelers out here doing it again.
Yeah. Basically, you play the first robo-reporter for the solar system's most trusted holo paper, The Times and Galaxy.
The Times and Galaxy.
Yeah. It has the best theme song of any video game. Like, when you boot up the game for the first time, it plays the entire theme song. It's so good. I love it. It also fits with like the theme of the game in general, because like as an intern, it's up to you to prove that you're worthy of a spot as one of the paper's reporters. But every place that you visit where you have to report on an event is presented like an episode of like a sitcom.
Okay.
Where you have a title screen and it's written by this person or this person. And that vibe is just really, really nice. As I said, you get to check out events and crime scenes where you talk to the people involved or witnesses who saw what happened. And then you get to decide how you want to write your story. You can go the sensational route. You can choose to stay more informational. You do this by picking a headline, a sub-headline, and then like the first couple of lines for your article. and you get to choose these from a selection that becomes available the more you investigate. So if you just talk to everybody just once, you get a couple of options. But if you dig deeper into the conversations, you get more options for your article. And it's a really great and intuitive system that will influence both the readership and the standing of the paper, but also your relationship with like your colleagues or with people that you've talked to, like police officers or witnesses. So every decision that you make has pretty huge consequences.
Okay.
Even though they might seem small at the time when you're making them. For example, I was sent to like this intergalactic.
Yeah, I think intergalactic. Yeah, I'd say if we're in space, I think intergalactic sounds right.
Yeah, it was an intergalactic cat show.
Yo, bad.
It was
okay.
basically just which cat is the best,
Okay.
and then you have to choose how to write an article about it.
Okay.
Because you have to keep it interesting. You have to get people invested in what you're writing about. But if you go the sensational route, then you might lose like reputation because you become like this more of a tabloid. It's really interesting and it's so funny. Like I have not had a lot of games where I liked the humor. If games announce themselves as we're a funny game, usually I'll be like, oh no.
How funny are you really?
Yeah. But this one knocks it out of the park. It's
oh yeah.
Like the writing is so good. The conversations you have both with witnesses and with your colleagues are really interesting. For the cat show that I just mentioned.
Yeah.
The eventual winner is a dog. That's the kind.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then you can just act like, well, that's a really cool looking cat.
Yeah.
And it's funny. It's just funny. Like, it's not gonna be for everyone, but I really enjoy it.
That immediately reminded me of, get away from the game for a second. I think it was last week. There was like the BET Awards or sometime recently. And there's a clip of Donald Glover being like, I have more BET Awards than Will Smith, but I'm tied with Sam Smith. Why does this white man have the same amount of BET Awards as me? And I just see the dog being like the Sam Smith of the cat show. And that's really funny to me.
I get it.
But no, so you were saying like, you know, you write the narrative. Does it seem like there's a right and wrong way to do it? Because I'm imagining there's like an end, right? There's like, it's 20 articles, you completed it, and you've made it as the first robot reporter. You've upgraded from intern. Does it seem like, oh, I did this, but the audience wasn't interested enough, so like I haven't made enough progress to like reach the end? Does it seem like it is just narrative beat, like I did all 20 and it's going to be like you did it, but you'll have like a score of how well you actually did? Or do you have like a vision of that yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm only a couple of hours in. What I have seen is that like when you're choosing, for example, your headline, you can see how it affects your standing,
okay,
your reputation, and your readership. Like
yes, we see it here for video watchers.
Yeah, and I'm not sure yet how that's gonna decide how the game ends.
Okay.
Because you're still an intern, so maybe you don't get the job because there's another intern there as well. So maybe you're gonna battle it out with them to become
bastards.
to actually get the job. I'm not sure yet, but what this game has done for me is get me really excited to play more of it.
Bet. Hell yeah, dude. I played the demo back during a Next Fest at some point. I think that's always the answer for anything. Once upon a time in Next Fest. I really enjoyed it. The demo glitched out for me. So I did the mission. I went back. I like turned in the article and I went to have the dialogue with the chief or whatever. And everything just froze. Like all the characters froze except for the little like slime dog I think was running around. He was the only thing moving on the screen. So I had to like restart the demo, which restarted the whole demo. So like I would have had to do it. I'm like, okay, I think I did enough. But we got the point across. We did the video. So like I really enjoyed it. Again, another one. Man, I need someone to go back through all 17 episodes now and write down how many times I said I'll get back to it. I want to play it again. But that's just the life of an indie gamer.
That's true.
But yeah, I love the art style. I love the vibe. Everything you said, I like remember from like the demo being like, that's right. It was really funny. I enjoyed this. So it's really cool. I'm glad you're digging it. I'm excited to hear more and like how that plays out with the like how good my gameplay does, whether that, you know, changes the ending or not.
Mm-hmm. Well, at the end of July, I'm gonna have a couple of weeks of holiday. And I'm going to be finishing all of the games that I've talked about in previous episodes and finally get to know how they end.
Got it. So I heard we'll do a Playlog episode that's just Tofr talks. I'm going to come in, I'm going to do the intro, and I'm going to walk away, and then you just talk for 2 hours. But you continue to yell timestamp when I'm not here to take timestamps, and then we'll just I'll be like,
obviously.
Hell yeah. Bet. Time's Galaxy.
You've been playing another game, haven't you?
I haven't played another game. I don't have too much to say. Everyone knows the game. If you haven't heard about it, it's called Minecraft. Oh, timestamp. It's called Minecraft. It's this. It's super small. It's basically this like survival game. I don't really vibe with survival games like that. Like Valheim, probably the biggest one for me. But now, like Minecraft will have those itches, right? Where I'm like, it's that time of like every 4 years where I'm like, I'm going to play Minecraft now. I don't know. The other night in chat, one of my viewers, Death Potato, they were just like, I'm playing Minecraft. I'm doing, I think it was like Fire and Ice mod where it was like 5 dragons. You had to hunt them down or whatever. I'm like, I don't want to go that far and do all the modded stuff, even though that's fun. I just don't play on PC. But I've been like dying to get the platinum for Minecraft for a long time. Okay. It's just a matter of committing and doing it. Because you can pull up creative and go fight the Ender Dragon, but that won't count. They won't give you the trophies. So you have to build a world, build a house, survive, mine, find the end portal, fight the Enderman, get the eyes, do the thing. Like you have to do all these steps. And I would like to do that. The amount of times Chris, RV2 and I have started a world and we play for a day and then stop and then play for a day and stop. And I'm like, if I just commit to one and play it and then eventually bring him on at some point and we just knock out all the platinum stuff, great. And we both have the platinum. But that being said, Minecraft's such a vibe. I don't need to tell anybody that. It's a good time. I'm at the spot where I started a whole world. I built a house. It was really cool, like farmhouse. It was like 3 tiers. Each one had different gardens on it. Then I had like a long L-shaped like bedroom. Then I went mining and died and lost my diamond pick. So I restarted the world. I said, I'm pissed now. I'm pissed. So now I made a new one. I finished building my house. It's like a 2-tier type. I got like a building underneath. That's like the bedroom. Underneath is where I put my end portal. Nothing great out there yet, so I have to go explore. So I haven't done too much. Then upstairs I have my storage. I got my shelf of like 20 chests and then like 20 chests on top. I put my wood and my stone on. So I get that Minecraft setup. You got to do that. I wish I took pictures of my house. It's built out of acacia like wood, which I think a lot of people hate acacia because of the orange. I love that acacia tree. It looks great. But I was having a good time. It's just a quiet kickback vibe. Trying to get that platinum. It's a weird thing where like I'm playing there's not a PS5 version. There's just the PS4 one. And if you look at the PS4 version trophies on the PS5, it only shows you the DLC. It doesn't show the main game. So yeah. Okay. So like it's like expansion pack 14, 15, 16, 17, but I can't just look at the main one. So if anyone knows about that and like, oh, you have to click a button or change this, let me know. But like I have to pull up like PSN trophies and see what I haven't accomplished. To then like, oh cool, I have to go tame an ocelot, which I had a bunch of ocelots the other day, but I didn't have a fishing rod, so I need to go do that so I could do that and get that done. But then I have to cure a zombie villager, so I think I have to make a zombie villager unless I find one. So it's just like some menial tasks. Go fight the Ender Dragon. I have one that's on a rail where you have to make like so long of a track that you have to ride from one point to another, then the trophy will pop and everything. I have to get more iron and more redstone and blah 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 blah. Yeah, it's a fun thing, but I was having a good time, having a fun time again with Minecraft. It's a good place.
It does look like a vibe. I haven't dabbled with it. I started it once and I wasn't feeling it. But yeah. I get why people can lose themselves in this game for like hundreds of hours.
I think it's the audio for me. There's just a simplicity to like the tick 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 tick. Like I'm sitting there walking down. I gotta build a staircase. I can see I'm next to a ravine. My house is next to a ravine, and I can see some iron and some diamond down there. And like I need to get down there, but I can't jump. There's no water. So you just go to the side. You're like, I see this. You angle yourself 45 degrees and just start pickaxing. You're like, you break the dirt. It's like, and you're like picking up the stones as you're going. It's fun. And then eventually you lose track. You're like, how far did I go? And you like turn around. It's just like a dark tunnel. I'm like, I was not placing torches. If something spawns in here, I'm dead. But it's a good time. Also, I don't know what they did with skeletons in Minecraft, but they are so sweaty. They are just, I can't exist. Like the sun will start to go down. The skeleton's like, oh, ping, ping. And they have like this insane aimbot where I'm like, serpentine. But they're just freaking nailing me every time. And I get shot. I die right outside my house. So I got to respawn on my bed, pick everything up. Then I got to reorganize my inventory. It's like I didn't lose anything, but I got to take the time to fix it. And then I just sit in there. I go to bed and I wait for the sun to come up and I watch them through the window burn. And I'm like, you stupid fucking skeleton. You're a bitch. Yeah, skeletons, knock it off. You're annoying. But yeah, that's Minecraft. Minecraft's a good time. Oh, man. Let us know in the comments what you've been playing this week, how much you like in Minecraft. But, timestamp. We've gone for about an hour and a half, so let's bring it into the indie releases for this week. For the week, well, the week of is weird. Anyway, July 11th through July 17th, our week starts with Playlog Podcast, people. That's what we're talking about. Tofr, it is a week, brother. Oh, there's a lot coming out. Starting today, yes, as the podcast recording, Angerfoot drops on PC July 11th. Also, Neon White coming to Xbox, also on Game Pass on July 11th. The Last Alchemist coming out on July 12th for PC. It's a very alchemist farming sim, potion permit, Stardew Valley type deal, but 3D. Looks really cute. I enjoy it. It's on my wish list. And I forgot it was, but it looks cute. A little less cute, Darkest Dungeon 2 dropping on July 15th for Switch and PlayStation. Maybe a little more cute, Let's School dropping on July 16th for Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation. Deliver Us the Moon on July 16th for Switch. Listen, you're going to hear July 16th a lot here. Gestalt, Steam, and Cinder, awesome Metroidvania with a badass redhead woman. She looks amazing. Drops on July 16th for PC and Switch. Flock, which I didn't know was coming out this month, but we did know was on Game Pass. July 16th for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, again, including Game Pass. July 16th, we also have Aerial Knights, We Never Yield, the sequel to, it is Aerial Knights Yield, shit, what is it? You looking one up for me? Aerial Knights, I forget the first one's called. But it's a black game, so we stand it. I know it also features Blessing Adeoye Jr. from Kinda Funny, so we're always into that. But that one drops on July 16th for PC, Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. It's gonna bug me. See, the thing was, I played the first one.
Is it Never Yield?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So it's Never Yield. So there's Aerial Knights Never Yield, and then the sequel is Aerial Knights We Never Yield.
Okay.
I played the demo again during a Next Fest, and I didn't love it. I think there was a like input delay type thing where I'm like, I jumped, but I hit a wall, but like it didn't quite jump when I needed it to. And I just never ended up going back for the full game. But it's getting a sequel, so I'm assuming it was polished enough. People loved it. And just seeing the developer and then the team behind it, the voice actors all tweet out like, hey, I'm in this game. It's really cool. It looks awesome. I'm glad it exists. So definitely if you like some like side scrolling runner, almost Temple Run-esque, but again, black, it's a good time. Also July 16th, we have Magical Delicacy coming to PC, Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox, including Game Pass. I see you added that. Another Stardew Valley, magical, I make food for my neighbors type deal. Now Tofr. I told you before we recorded, there was a game on this list that I was going to ask you about and see if you knew what it was or not. This next one's called Clickold. Do you know what this game is?
I have not heard of this one, no.
Good. So, I looked it up so I could be like, what is this game?
Okay.
I don't know. Let me pull this up. For the listeners. Clickolding. It's such... This game exists. I can't believe this game exists. Hold on. Okay. I don't know if I can say this on YouTube, but I'm going to. You know what cuckolding is?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So that's what this game is. There's a dude in a rat mask or a weird bird mask, and he gets off to you sitting there playing with a counter. The game is you clicking this button, and he's like, click it again. Good. And you see him like tingle and everything, and he's like reaching by the chair to grab something, and you just keep, it's an incremental, you just keep clicking the button, and you make it go up and up and up and up. I don't know. I don't know what this game is. I don't know what it's gonna be. I don't know narratively what's gonna go on. I don't know if I should expect like a Doki Doki Literature Club like twist type deal going on. But this game comes out on July 16th for PC, so I am tempted. I might shoot some DMs to a developer here just to see if we can grab ourselves a copy of that one, because I need to know what's going on with the click holding. This is a time. This is a time to be alive.
Man, Steam says that this game is similar to Disco Elysium and Firewatch. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it.
I'm not seeing it. Listen, if it finds out, I was about to spoil Firewatch. I won't do that. You guys should play Firewatch. But if it ends like Firewatch, honestly, I'm kind of here for it. It's
what I'm also noticing on Steam is that apparently Outer Sloth is publishing.
Yes, I did see that too. Yeah, Outer Sloth, if you guys didn't know. Inner Sloth, the guys who made Among Us, have like a whole publishing. Yeah. I remember it's like a funding corporation. I forget if it's publishing specifically. It's an interesting thing. But they're backing a lot of other studios with like the money. They're like, hey, we got money from Among Us, so we'll help other studios. So that's cool. Yeah.
And this is what they decided.
This is where they put their money.
Use that money for.
I am insanely excited though. I want to know what this is, because I think it's going to be goofy, but like dark goofy. I think it's going to be dumb, and I want to know what it is. But it's like, I'm afraid I can't stream it. I'm afraid like all of a sudden Susan be like, oh yeah, and just like whip his dick out or something. I'm like, wait, no, I don't know what to expect, but I'm here for it. Anyway, continuing down the list. Okay, that's the end of July 16th. July 17th, we have Nobody Wants to Die coming to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. First-person detective thing. It's got like a Mortals of Alium vibe to it. Visually looks stunning, and I like detective games, so I might check that one out. Bouncing off of our AAA IP into indie stuff, we got the TMNT Splintered Fates, top-down roguelike, I think it is. I think it's a roguelike, coming out July 16th for Switch. And to round out the list, we have Bo, Path of a Teal Lotus, dropping in July 17th, for Steam, Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. Can't wait for that one. So excited.
I know what you're playing next week.
Listen, I gotta play click holding, man. I can't wait. No, I'm super excited for Bo. I had fingers crossed I got a key. The devs, a lot of devs doing tweets now, which is super convenient for creators, because like sometimes you don't have like the list of like, how do I get in touch with these people? Like they don't have DMs on or whatever, but they put out the tweet like, content creators, whoever's interested, shoot us a message, do whatever. So I'm like, hey, let me know. And then I put like the thumbnail for the July releases video, which is Bo as the thumbnail. I'm like, let's do it. Come on. Let me know. So hopefully I'll get a chance to play it one ahead of time, so I can pace it out with the following week. That'll have Dungeons of Hinterberg, which so many games. So many games. Yeah. But that's next week. We don't know about Dungeon yet. We don't know the future. Timestamp. And to round out the episode, don't forget, you can write into the show and tell us what your favorite indie game is, just like Switch Hylian did. Writes in and tells us about their favorite indie game, Binding of Isaac, because of the wacky mix of randomized items and dungeons you traverse. I even have the card game. Do you have the card game? I know you have some board games. Do you have the Binding of Isaac card game?
I don't have, no. The thing is, I never really got into Binding of Isaac that much because it's too hard.
It's too hard.
Stuck at it. But I have watched my friend Daphne play it. Mm-hmm. She's really, really good at it, and she spent like a couple of 100 hours on it in that game already.
Sure.
And what amazes me is like the replayability of it, because despite having over hundreds of hours, she still has only like 50% of all achievements.
Jesus,
which is insane.
That's wild. I don't know what the achievement list looks like. I don't know if it's like that niche. You gotta like do specific things, whatever. I know my buddy Ben. We both started playing the game when it dropped on PlayStation Plus in like 2014, maybe. I forget when it was. Mm-hmm. But he like plays it. It's like his recreational game. It's like I want to turn off and just shut off my mind. Like he will just play Binding of Isaac. I don't know what his like achievement process looks like or anything, but he's put hundreds of hours into this game, including like the DLC. I don't even know what any of the packs are actually called. There's some Binding of Isaac nuts out there, and they're into it, dog. Mm-hmm. We're gonna go do that to you.
I just checked, and it has 637 achievements.
I don't have the time.
No.
I don't have this. I can't do it. That's so many achievements.
That's so many.
What am I supposed to do? They better be like, turn on the game, open a menu, punch something, die. Like, it's got to just be like, do every button in the game and you can complete it. Like, that's so many achievements.
It really is.
Holy crap. No, we know Daphne wrote in quite a few episodes back and talked about Binding of Isaac, and we know people love it. Not typically our speed either way, but it's out there. People love their Binding of Isaac.
Absolutely.
I think the thing I like most about Binding of Isaac is when I think about the like level design, I think about Die in the Dungeon, which I am more excited for.
Ooh, Die in the Dungeon.
Die in the Dungeon. I think, did that get a date? There was a trailer at a recent showcase or something, and Die in the Dungeon is really cool.
It got a new demo, but I'm
That's
not
right,
sure.
Take a new demo.
Let
Die
me see.
in
Did it
the
get a date?
Dungeon.
It says third quarter.
Okay.
2024.
Okay. Let's fucking go. Yeah, Die in the Dungeon's lit. It was like one of those like flash games you could play online. Now the demo. There was the prologue, which I think might still be a separate page you can download and play. But yeah, now Die in the Dungeon, new demo. It's so fun. If you like roguelikes, you like dice rolling, you like frogs with swords, go play Die in the Dungeon.
Absolutely.
And play Binding of Isaac because that's what was wrote in about. Oh, and timestamp. But ladies and gentlemen, with that is a wrap on this episode of Playlog. Thank you so much for watching. Again, let us know what indie / AAA crossovers you want to hear, what you think about video game layoffs, what games you're excited to play this week. Just engagement. Engagement's king. It helps the podcast grow. Yeah. If you're listening on audio services, 5-star review. You don't?
Yeah. And don't forget to play Night in the Woods.
Yes, that's right. Oh, you're right. I didn't put that on the docket. Don't forget, we're doing our book club at the end of the month on July 23rd for live, and then the 26th for the 25th. Fuck am I saying? 25th for the regular listeners. Go play Night in the Woods this month, and we'll talk about it. You'll write in and talk us what you think.
Yeah.
I got to put that on next week. I can't believe I forgot. I'm going to do that at the front of the show. Let me do this. I'm going to do this. No, I won't put it on here because I got to reuse the document. Don't worry about it. We'll remember Night in the Woods. Play Night in the Woods.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I'm streaming it on Saturday. So if you're watching this episode the day of, 2 days from now, we're starting Night in the Woods on stream. So I get it started. So that's a good call. But of course, Tofr, if the scrubs on the internet wanted to find you, where would they go?
They can find me as play.nice.kids, either with dots or underscores between the words, on all of the platforms.
Good times there, guys. Check out Tofr. And with that is a wrap on our episode. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. And don't forget to play some indie games. And don't die. Not dying is important too. Drink some water. Maybe take your dog on a walk. Clean up the Legos. Your mom doesn't like we leave the Legos on the floor. It's never a fun time. Let's go. Okay, bye.